Good morning, Mr. Wayne. Whenever you're ready.
Mr. Brennan, on behalf of your clients, you waive the formal reading to the indictments.
We do, thank you.
Eric Wayne on indictment number 2014-1179001, charging with motor vehicle homicide while under the influence of intoxicating liquor, being negligent. 002, charging with manslaughter. And 003, charging assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon. Having waived the formal reading to these indictments, sir, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty? Question bail, Commonwealth.
Yes.
All right, I hear you.
And if you're asking for a $100,000 cash bail, the same bail that was set in the Lawrence District Court. Summarizing the facts of the case on August 23rd, 2014 at 12:30 in the morning on Riverside Drive in Methuen, a vehicle being operated by this defendant, Eric Wayne, crossed with both tires into the oncoming lane of traffic, and at a high rate of speed, it struck a vehicle head-on that was driven by 26-year-old Bryant Paula of Lawrence, who succumbed to his injuries as a result of that crash less than an hour later at the Lawrence General Hospital. Also seriously injured in the crash was his sister, 24-year-old Lois Paula, who is present in the courtroom today. I can tell the court that civilian witnesses on scene were concerned that this defendant was going to flee after the crash. He was overheard talking on his cell phone saying, I need to get out of here, I need someone to pick me up. When the Methuen PD arrived at the scene, he made observations of Mr. Wayne, including the fact that he had a strong odor of alcohol coming from his mouth, as well as from inside of his vehicle. They noticed several broken Heineken beer bottles inside. Mr. Wayne denied drinking alcohol. However, he fumbled with his wallet. He was unsteady on his feet. He stumbled when getting into and out of the cruiser. He did exhibit slurred speech. He initially gave the name of Eric Blaine with a B, and when asked for his address, he gave the date of birth of 7/10/1973. Officers on scene formed the opinion that Mr. Wayne was under the influence of alcohol. After he was arrested, he informed Methuen PD of his status as a Lowell police officer. He repeatedly asked to be allowed to leave, had to be explained to about the death of Mr. Paula. He slept briefly in the cell, and he woke up. He again asked if he could leave the police station and had to be told by Captain Hagar a second time about Mr. Paula's death. I should tell the court that at the time of this crash, Mr. Wayne had opened pending OUI out of the Lawrence District Court, and based on the facts of this case, open OUI, the seriousness of the charges, as well as the death of that 26-year-old young man, I'd be asking for that $100,000 cash bail. Thank you.
Motion of a case like this, and I'll ask the court to bear with me as I try to focus in on the law with respect to the setting of bail. And I first want to reassure any and everyone in the courtroom that there is nothing to be said that is of any disrespect to the loss of life that has occurred in this case and the tragedy that has occurred. With respect to the facts, those will be borne out through the case being brought before the court at a later date. I can tell you from what I have been provided to date, I don't know the extent of the injuries of the sister of the deceased victim, other than she was released from the hospital that evening. 7/10/1973 is in fact the date of birth that was provided by Mr. Wayne, and it is in fact his date of birth. I can tell you that the two civilian witnesses who the Assistant District Attorney describes as saying that Mr. Wayne was on the phone contacting someone, testified in the grand jury that Mr. Wayne was next to them at the vehicle that had been struck, telling them that he was the operator of the motor vehicle and that he was just trying to get out of the way, that he at no point in time tried to flee the scene, nor do I believe there's any accusation of that. I can also indicate, just with respect to the facts as they've been provided to me, that there are 3 civilian witnesses who are mentioned within the police reports that have been provided, as well as the grand jury. This particular individual held without bail. He cannot raise $100,000 cash bail. Perhaps of secondary consideration, but as you heard, Mr. Wayne is a police officer in the Lowell Police Department. I've been so for 19 years. There's no anything on his record as a police officer other than praise. Because of his status as a police officer, he is held in segregation. And I don't mean technical cussing, Your Honor. The fact of the matter is, based on the facilities at Middleton, he is held in segregation. It's that area where those committed people serving sentences who cannot abide by jail, its terms and conditions, are placed. It's the worst of the worst. That's where he is. They know he's a police officer there. The conditions are far worse than anybody else who is in that place at this point in time, and virtually take away any opportunity for him to participate in this defense.
$1,000 cash home. All right, is the automatic discovery done?
Yes.
Thank you. One second, please. So this is a track C case. The pretrial conference should take place by February 13th. The pretrial hearing by February 18th. And the trial by October 13th. So there's the track order, the track C case. All right, one guys, please go ahead.
Eric Wayne on indictment number 2014-1179. The court orders that you recognize the amount of $100,000 cash bail for your further appearance before the court. Sir, I must advise you, if you do post that bail and you commit a new offense while out on bail, the court after a hearing can revoke your bail and you can be held for a period of up to 60 days.
There's a motion to reserve. Is there any objection to that?
No.
Without objection, I'll allow